early in the spring season, which means if you live in most of Canada at least, we are officially entering brown season. Normally this occurs in Saskatchewan between April and May, but with the warmer temperatures we've had, we've been in the middle of brown season for quite some time now. Honestly, it's been a few weeks. When the landscape looks like this, landscape photography with a wide-angle lens is nearly impossible. There is very little in the landscape to make those types of images stand out or pop. So during the spring season, I'll typically forget those wide, epic scenes, and I'll use my telephoto lens instead to focus on intimate landscape photography and those more abstract details in the scenery.
What's up, guys? Everyone's either quarantined or they're social distancing. Either way, shh. I have this whole park to myself. Wascana Trails again today. Last week's video, I was way over there and we had some incredible light. This week, we have flat, boring light. So you remember back to my light video, that means we're after some more abstract, intimate scenes. So without further ado, let's get looking. Well guys, I think I found probably two compositions. Back there was some beautiful ice that had kind of been, I don't know, it looks all crunchy and it had separated a little bit from the shoreline, so we're gonna head back there. But because of where the sun is right now, shining on this tree, I thought I'd get this shot first. What I really enjoyed about this scene particularly was just the kind of starkness of that tree against that backdrop. And so what I've tried to really kind of accomplish here was to just try and get that tree as alone as I possibly could against that backdrop. So the major problem obviously is I have two trees here. So the one I want to shoot on the right hand side and the one I really don't want to include is on the left. The reason I don't want to include that is because at that point I'm including too much of that top bit and I'm going to bring the sky into my frame. And also including too much of the bottom, which is going to include a lot of this undergrowth, which is, it's not very pretty. So the idea is I'm going to try and isolate that tree as much as possible. So what I've tried to accomplish here is to get low enough to eliminate the river in the back. If my tripod is too high and I want to include the base of that tree as it comes out of the ground, I'm going to be including that river if I get too high. So I've had to kind of drop my tripod as fairly low. And so what I've tried to really kind of accomplish is to get that kind of bushy brush stuff in the front to just blur right out and then have the tree come out of there. I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. Okay, so here we have the scene. I'm gonna try and pump my foot up so you can see what's going on. Take this off. Okay, so generally that's kind of what I'm after. So you can see the blurriness of this kind of foreground. So I accomplished that by hitting my f-stop down all the way to 4.8. The reason I don't go even lower than that is because I don't want the tree itself to get blurry from the front to the back. There is a bunch of kind of depth in that tree, so you can see it's not actually kind of all in one plane. So if I stop down to like 2.8 even, then that tree is not going to have the depth I need it to have to cover, to make sure that that is entirely in focus. So the other interesting thing here with this composition is I've basically blurred the background out as well. So it's kind of you have this brown background that's pretty kind of, there's no detail or texture in it. And then I have this kind of blurred out foreground that doesn't have a lot of texture either. The only texture in this photo is this tree. So the one thing I've tried to figure out with composition I haven't decided yet is whether or not this tree looks best in the center or kind of on the right third. The reason I think this might work as well is because we have this branch that reaches out, and so the viewer is able to this kind of brings the viewer back into the frame. So whereas if you center it, it feels like at least this side seems pretty empty. So that's the photo in a nutshell. Basically the only texture you're going to see is that tree. So we're gonna go ahead and fire this photo right now. I'm at 1/125th of a second, f4.8, and ISO 100. So technically I don't need to be on a tripod, but it's just easier for me to maneuver around. So 5-second timer on, live view on to make sure I don't get any camera shake. Looks good. Well, we're gonna head over and check out spot number 2, that ice over here, and I'm thinking it's actually gonna be the better of the two photos, so let's get going. Well, this is new for me anyway, in Saskatchewan. I've never seen ice quite like this before. I'm not even sure what's creating it. I'm not sure if you can see yet. The ice broke down there, and so we've got water coming on top of the ice down here, and so I'm guessing that's what's caused this. Is this happens quite often, and so when water kind of starts pooling on here and it freezes in unique ways. Anyway, pretty cool. I've been wandering around here and I've found honestly 3 or 4 that I'm quite happy with. It's more just about the texture than really any sort of compositional element. It's just kind of a really interesting scene. So I'm zoomed right in on just patches that I like. And an interesting thing about these scenes is there's these really light snowflakes that have been falling all morning. I'm going to show you in the final photos, but you can see those snowflakes in these photos. So it's really going to be kind of, I think, unique photo, especially for Saskatchewan. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking, throw the photos up now. Hope you guys enjoy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed those photos. Pretty unique, at least for Saskatchewan. Some really cool ice texture. Anyway, definitely I think I like these better than what I got over there for that tree. So if you guys stuck through to here, thanks for watching. I do want to chat quickly about my 7200 lens. It's a Tamron G2. Generally, I've been very happy with it, and it's kind of changed the way I shoot, just that focal range. But when the lens is like this, vertically, which to be honest isn't very often, but I want to give a warning to anyone that is shooting with this lens or has thought about maybe buying this one. The focal length dial, or the barrel, I'm really technical, I really know what I'm talking about. When you're facing vertically, I don't know if it's what's going on, but the barrel itself is turning back to 70 regardless of kind of where I'm at. So if I'm on the long end, if I'm at 200, it will stay there. But if I'm anywhere in the middle, the focal length will kind of dial itself back to 70 on its own. So it kind of drives me a bit nuts, especially with when you're shooting these tight, intimate scenes and you're really trying to fine-tune your framing. And so when you turn from 120 millimeters to 125 millimeters, well, you're just going to go back to 70 anyway. So very frustrating. I wish that the folks at Tamron had made something a little bit sturdier. I'm not sure, maybe it was my own fault for knocking it around or whatever, but I'd be curious to know if you guys had this problem with, you have this lens, and if you do, was there a solution around it? It's a bit frustrating for me, but again, it's only a very unique scenarios that I've ever used it this way, and I've only seen it a couple of times. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more like it. Cheers. Thanks so much for watching, guys.